Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rooster Teeth podcast. This week brought to you by... I'm Gus.
I'm Becca.
I'm Barbara.
Hey, what up? It's your boy Bernie.
And Gus.
I've been watching Twitch streams all week.
Have you? I almost said welcome to Dollar Shave Club. I'm all fucking screwed up
Our
right
new
now.
podcast.
That's our new podcast. We're just going to name it after companies. Welcome to Toyota Motor Corporation. It's like,
Hey, I'll give you $1 to shave. Join my club.
I had a shaving incident.
I see what you did there.
did you?
Yeah, so I was trimming my beard, and I have like a little guard on it.
This could go
and then as
good
I'm
or
trimming, the guard goes boop and popped off, and I cut a divot in the bottom of my chin.
Oh, I see it.
Like it's like a
It's like a little space.
like
You're
a like
turned
the
towards
green
camera.
on a.
I'm gonna pretend that's
like the-
your
right there,
skin
right there,
actually
yeah.
gouged out.
No, it's just like a big chunk of my hair's gone. I went like going wing, and I was like, oh shit, and I had to look, and so I actually brought my beard down a bunch.
I
more.
want
Probably
you to
the
do the
best
Foley
place.
for a movie.
Wee. That noise is bad though because I've heard that noise before when someone was doing my hair. And they were like shaving with a guard, and all of a sudden you hear this boink of the guard coming off. Once again, Foley work. And then you hear zit on your head, and then you have a divot.
Have you seen the video of that kid who's like trying to trim his own hair, and he does it without the guard, and he just like cuts like a reverse mohawk,
Yeah.
and his hair's just kind of hanging there, and he's like trying to like mat it back down, like put it back into
Little
place.
comb over.
I think people fucking up their hair on YouTube videos is one of my favorite things to watch.
There's so
Yeah,
many
I
good
agree.
ones.
There's like the girl who I think she's curling her hair.
Yeah.
And it burns off, and she just goes.
she can't process it. She's like looking at it. She winds all this hair around it, and then she's got it there, and it just burns and goes. And she goes.
That's like the one where the woman gets all her bangs together and clips it, and then it's just like
And she goes,
yeah. She's got that face. God, how do we see? We could never experience these moments before the internet. Now you can see them.
Schadenfreude everywhere.
There's
All the
it's
time.
also there's a video that's like
Miss Vocabulary over here.
Right.
it's a cautionary tale for repeating what you see on the internet. There's the girl who puts the corn on the cob on the drill
Oh,
and tries
God.
to eat it, and then it winds her hair up and like rips a chunk of her hair out. She has like a
Yeah.
hole in her scalp.
I thought that one was fake. I had to like follow that one up. Like I found the videos of her like going to the doctor afterwards. Like,
Really?
yeah, there's like a whole series of them later.
Someone's gonna die doing that.
Oh God, it's
this
so
is the
painful to
one?
look at.
Oh no!
Oh my god.
Moment of silence for that one.
Oh God, I can't imagine what that feels like.
I mean, I imagine it feels a lot like waxing, and it's not good.
Yeah, it's probably honestly so
Dude.
shocking that you don't even like.
Do you wax a patch that big?
Like on your legs.
That's a big like. Do they do the
They,
whole?
they go all out on the legs.
the all
like,
out?
Like
a
they'll
big, long
do like
strip?
a long strip.
They do like little patches at a time.
Will they do like the whole like cooter area? Sorry,
yeah.
Will
I've
they
never-
do that in one go?
So no, they kind of like section it off. The worst part, and have you ever had a wax?
I went straight to laser.
Okay,
So
so you've never experienced this before, but the worst part of a wax is like actually on the top. It's not like the inner bits.
oh yeah, over the bone.
Over
Sucks.
like
Like
the,
up towards your stomach. Is
yeah,
that what you mean by
that's
top?
the worst part.
No shit.
Yeah.
I would have figured like back in like the gooch. I mean, I
The
don't know.
gooch is the easiest part.
Really?
Yeah.
It seems like it's embarrassing though to be in that position. Although as women, like at the doctor and everything, you're constantly in a compromising position.
It's still embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people are just like moving things around and like opening things up.
Yeah.
I
and-
just am always like, this is what they do every day.
Yep.
They're so desensitized. I
Right.
just tell myself over and
have
over.
to remind yourself that.
It's just like another day at the office. It's like like a secretary picking up a phone. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving, rearranging a coach.
Yeah.
Picking up a phone. It's all the same.
Do you get up on all fours for like the Brazilian, like the backside stuff? Is that how that
No,
works?
the butt you're lying on your back and you put your legs up.
You do like a reverse crunch?
You hold your legs to your chest.
Do they time you like you have to hold it a minute or anything like that? Like it's like a
You
trainer
gotta,
there.
gotta let the blood out, like
10 seconds
desensitize it.
I'm pretty sure there was one time when a little bit of wax was left in there. Cause
What happened?
I went
boy.
to the bathroom later that day, and it's like, you know when you're pushing silly putty through like a mold and it comes out in that mold?
Yeah.
I think like part of my butthole was still connected from the wax.
So they come out star shaped, like something like that.
Just like
Spaghetti.
two little spaghettis.
That seems like a bad job by that wax technician. They
Yeah, I
should've-
didn't go to that person again.
I would not imagine not.
Do you have to tip someone who waxes you?
Yes.
Yes.
So then you're incented to really tip them if you go back because you don't want to short them because you don't want them fucking it up or
Right.
doing a bad job. It's kind of like extortion then.
I also don't think they necessarily
tipping is
know.
extortion.
Some places
Yeah,
are
but
different. Like
this way, they'll fucking hurt you.
They don't let you barb in some places?
No, they let you, but like some places don't. Like you could just leave a tip in like their little mailbox, and it doesn't. You don't have to say who it's from.
I would want to make sure they know it's from me.
Oh no, I always tip very high for my waxer because I go to the same woman every time.
Same.
And you're like, please be gentle on me.
Yeah.
So what's the worst thing a waxer? I mean, they're professionals usually that you go to, but is it like they don't do it fast enough, or does they do a timid like pull, the double one, like that?
Like just from a pain perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they'll maybe not get all the hair and they have to keep going over an area. I mean, I usually just wax my eyebrows, so it's not too
Not as
bad.
bad. Have you ever had your legs waxed?
Mm-mm.
Me neither.
Really?
Never had my legs waxed. I just like shaving is easy there for me, but
Yeah.
it's just easier to get it waxed every like up here.
Dude, if a dude shaved their face the way that a woman shaves her legs, it's like it'd be like equivalent, Gus, if I shaved like, have you ever watched Esther shave her legs by any chance?
No.
Okay. Imagine shaving your face like this. Like that. And like,
Oh,
that would
God.
be
Oh, God.
That's exactly how women shave their legs.
Who shaves their legs like
Every
that?
woman I've
Do
ever
you
met
ever
shaves
shave
their
your?
legs
I saw
like
a
that.
Do you ever
commercial-
shave your fingernail?
Yes.
Like-
accidentally.
Yeah,
many
like
times.
I like shave by feel and do it so
Yeah,
quickly.
because you're like doing it with your hand. You're like touching with your hand as you're shaving to feel.
I've done that before, like when I'm like trying to move my face around and like
Yeah.
the
Flips it.
razor hits the nail and just
yeah,
like
that's rough.
So when you
pulls off a
shave,
little piece.
do you shave like this? Is it like that?
I
No.
go
You're like
gently.
Zip, zip, zip.
No, I go in like smooth strokes.
But like fast though. I mean, I'm,
Pretty
like,
fast.
I'm not going like
Definitely
whoop.
faster than a man shaves his
I
face.
guess faster than the face.
Guy-
But
guy
if
you
it were
shave
my
like
face,
this.
I'd
Tick,
probably
tick,
be
tick.
more careful.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I
I
just-
just jugulars over here.
There's a lot of blood when I shave my legs.
Oh man.
Do you cut yourself a lot?
Oh yeah, like I still have I have a little
Ah, it's murderous.
skip. Yeah.
What'd you
Got it on
do?
my Achilles heel. It was just a new blade. I was clumsy. I think that's gonna scar. I've had that for
Probably.
like 3 months.
It's
Jeez.
probably there forever.
If Achilles was shaving his legs and had that same injury, would he have died? Would like would that have done him
His
in?
delicate heels.
My one weakness. Why did I shave my legs?
So Achilles' mom, right, dipped him in the river Styx.
Was it the river Styx?
Was that what it was?
I thought I knew it was a body of water. I didn't realize it was the river Styx.
Any experts in mythology here?
I'm looking it up.
Believe it was the river Styx. She dipped him in, and then the story goes that she had to hold him somewhere, so she held him by the heel. When she dipped him,
So it didn't get the.
didn't get the heel, didn't get the stick river Styx.
But
water.
the rest of his foot did.
It was,
It was the river Styx. Thank you.
The rest of
Thank
his
you.
foot got it though. Just not the heels.
Yeah,
she just held him
she's
by
holding
the
him by
heels?
the one heel. Is it both heels or is it one
It's
heel?
one heel.
She's holding him and she goes dip and does that. But what I always thought is that his heel was vulnerable because it wasn't dipped. But then I had this weird like obsession with Achilles' mom. Then had like invincible finger and thumb. Like,
Yeah.
No, that one hand.
because she dipped the finger. She must have dipped those fingers in, so they were invincible as well. We never hear about that part of the story.
That's interesting. Yeah. I wonder if that hand is still preserved to this day somewhere.
Can you imagine though a pissed off mother's like, which one of you fuckers killed my kid? Like poking people.
Imagine how fast she was able to shave with those fingers. You know what I'm
Amazing.
saying?
She can shave those fingers like this. Zip, 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 zip.
She wouldn't have to worry about her nails getting cut on that hand.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah.
Be totally fine.
I always say, I don't know if you've ever had this, but I have been a reckless shaver at points in my life. And you know when you fucked up. Sometimes you can't feel how bad it is, but you know you've cut yourself pretty badly when the razor stops, like you get it caught.
Ooh.
You ever done that?
No.
I did that once on my face, like right here. Dink. And I had literally like two, it was a double-bladed razor at the time, and I had two perfectly like lined. Yeah, it was bad. It
I'll
was,
tell you what hurts is cutting your armpit. Like
that's not.
I've had it multiple times where I like go sideways by accident and just slices.
Ugh.
You would slide. Why would you go sideways?
Well, like it slips or something. It's not intentional.
Like you literally went sideways with the blade?
Yeah.
Oh, God, like you're
Yeah.
cutting bread? Oh, my God.
I don't think I've ever cut my armpit shaving.
It's horrible.
Ow.
It takes forever to heal too. Yeah.
I this is gonna sound really bad. I dry shave my underarms.
How?
I don't know. I think it's because I'm always sweaty.
No, I
You're
shave my
always
face.
sweaty, but it's dry when you shave.
Only when
I
I
don't use
shave.
shaving cream on my face.
You don't
I
use
use shaving cream. Never
Yeah.
have.
But
Well, I shouldn't say never have. I gave up on it.
I had something weird happen. I want to know how you would have reacted to this. I had a weird experience earlier
I'm
today.
gonna guess I would have complained about it on my podcast. That's how I would have reacted.
I was in my office. We were filming earlier this morning, filming all day. Then when we were done, I had to go over to my office to take a conference call. So I sit down at my desk, join the call on my phone, on my cell phone. Then I'm like, why am I sitting on my desk? I've got a couch. I'm going to go stretch out on the couch that's in my office. So I walk over to my couch, spread out, put my feet up on it. I'm on the phone, and I look over to the side of the couch, and there's a phone just like on the arm like that, like face down. I'm
Like a iPhone?
a cell phone. It was an Android phone.
Yeah.
I was like, that's weird. And I pick it up and look at it, and there's no identifying info on it or anything. I'm like, how long has this phone been in here? Like, what's this phone doing?
Is it recording?
Is it recording? Right.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
So it's like, I like set it outside, finish my call. Because I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so then I finish my call, go outside, the cell phone's still there. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this phone? Like,
I guess you can't like unlock it at all, or
right. Like I looked at it, there's no way to unlock it. It just has the time, and it says that there's like an alarm set for 7:30 the next morning.
Ironically, you can't use the phone to find the person. The way
Right.
the person can find the phone.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, would you have been paranoid about it? Because I was super paranoid.
Paranoid in what way? Like it's an explosive device or that it's eavesdropping?
It's eavesdropping.
Yeah, it's a recording device, sure. I would think that.
I don't know if I'd be paranoid about that because the only people who could have gone into that office and left a phone there are people that you would have let in.
Yeah.
You don't
got
you
your
doesn't trust the
lockdown.
fuckers that work
'Cause
here.
you have a locked. You live in a
Right, but
cage.
still, you don't know. I mean, I've found people in there that I've not given the code to before.
What? You found people?
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Like
Were they
Cool.
lying face down on your couch?
They were,
It was someone who doesn't
planting phone.
work here anymore. I don't know. I feel weird about saying that.
yeah.
Funny if
And
you
that's
weird.
why, right?
Call 'em out.
Because
So
Bring
one
him on the
time,
podcast.
I walked into my office and fucking Edward Stockwell was
God
sitting
damn
in
it,
there.
Edward.
Really?
And I walk in, he goes, "Oh yeah, my office was too loud. I came in here to record something." And I was like, "Oh,
How did he get the code?
I don't know." I was okay.
really weird.
And then I ended up changing the code like later that day.
Because of Edward.
Maxie, learn from his mistakes.
I was like,
like,
"What the
I'm never
fuck was
going
he-
in
was
there."
he- was he
Now,
in here?"
Edward was our former head of social media. or
Social media manager.
There you go. Thank you, Barbara. Worked for Barbara. And he has earned the moniker from the audience of being the chive guy.
Or some people say BuzzFeed guy because they forgot the name of the
Yes.
brand.
Yeah, because he
Or
worked at
fidget
Chive.
spinner asshole.
Yep.
But he actually started at Rooster Teeth. He was an intern in the broadcast
In
department.
like 2014.
Yeah, for how long? He was here? Like at least 6 months, right?
At least.
And then he got that job at the Chive, and we always liked Edward. And then we're like, oh, it's a good chance for you to come back and work for us. And he did, but for some reason, the fucking audience latched onto this Chive moniker
Yeah,
for this poor guy.
I like the guy. I thought everything he was
He was
great.
great.
I love-
He was
yeah.
a great employee. He just had another opportunity come up,
Yeah.
so he decided to move on. And everyone thought that we fired him because of one joke he made on Twitter
No,
that
no,
was a terrible joke.
I thought for the most part his stuff was really funny, and I feel kind of bad because like I would sometimes interact with his social posts with like a face palm or like why or like kind of making fun of him, but I thought that was like
That's
part of the fun of it.
We really liked his sense of humor.
Yeah.
We all thought that he did great work. But yeah.
Well, it was okay. To me, it was like the criticism they got of that his
The fidget spinner
posts were hey fellow kids. It's like he's like 14. How old is
Yeah.
he?
He's young.
25?
I
Yeah.
think he's even younger. I think he's like
He's just
low
out of
He
kid.
graduated in
college.
2015, I think, from college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is a fellow kid.
Though this does remind me, and I don't think I have the tweet saved. But I had a thing that happened today. It's a political thing a little bit. Emma Gonzalez, who is the kind of the poster person for the March for Your Life, for the gun control movement at the moment. She took a photo where she ripped up a shooting target, and it's been now photoshopped to look like she's ripping up a copy of the Constitution. And people have called this out as fake, that she's not, and it's gone viral, of course.
Yeah.
And then it's been called out that it's fake. And I thought, I'm gonna indulge this. I'm gonna look like outside of my bubble for other things. And I was looking at comments about it, and it was people who were being told this is fake, and they were like, the response was something. I'm paraphrasing here. Was like, yes, I know this is fake, but the message is real, and that's why we need to meme this as much as possible. It's like, so we literally live in like the post-information age, right?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like even if you thought that was real, there's no reason she would be tearing up the Constitution. That's not what they're trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you could say somebody made the argument that I thought was an interesting one, that they are trying to change the Second Amendment. You know what I mean? So there is a modification
You mean
of the Constitution.
amendment that modified the original Constitution.
Right.
Is that
You're
how
not
that
saying-
worked? I'm curious. I want to know what that process
You can't
is.
change an amendment, guys.
The word amendment.
Right. The word amendment makes me think this may have come later.
And it may have been a change to the original document.
Right. It may have been
in
the
some way.
original document wasn't complete, so it had to be changed and updated because times changed.
So wait, in the Constitution, like the Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments that were made to the Constitution, and they were made very rapidly after the ratification of the Constitution itself. So what are the rights that are reserved in the actual core document? Is it just the system of government? I should know this. I mean, I know like the preamble of the Constitution.
The Bill of Rights came out 13 years later.
13 years?
Yeah, it was 1789. It wasn't ratified until 1791.
1791, meaning the Bill of Rights was not.
That's 12 years.
Correct. Yeah, so it was created 1789. No, 2 years. And then ratified 1791.
The Bill of Rights.
Oh.
And they were all doing
Yeah.
one. There's a block of them, right?
Right. It was all of the first 10.
First 10. Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those are like the rights that we as Americans, I think, really hold dear. That's why we always fight about the Second Amendment, and the
Right.
First Amendment, and those things. But I thought it was really interesting to see the reaction of Americans to something that's going on over in the UK right now, or in Scotland, I believe specifically, where remember that guy we talked about who trained his pug to be a Nazi?
Oh, right.
And it would get excited about stuff, and now
What?
he's going to prison.
I missed this.
He trained the pug to give like a Heil salute when you would say certain
Or
things.
as other
Yeah.
people
'Cause
say, doggy high five.
Doggy high five.
And he's going to prison?
It was the
gonna-
context of what he would say to trigger
Oh my
the
God.
action by the dog that I think caused
I'm-
problems.
So confused as to the actions of some people in the world.
Wow.
So his whole approach was his girlfriend always talks about how nice the dog is.
Yeah.
And he can't stand the dog. So that what's the meanest thing I can turn this dog into? And I figured I'd turn it into a Nazi.
So he did it as a joke?
Yeah, he does a joke on his girlfriend. That's the premise of the video that he put out. And he does say that at the top of the video.
Yeah.
But then he says very reactionary, hate speech in it. And that's what he was convicted of. It was hate speech, which
Wow.
is in other places you can be convicted of saying things that are
What was his sentence?
I don't actually know what the sentence was. I think he's going to try to appeal it.
Yeah.
But I know it was potentially a prison sentence. But he was
Wow.
convicted.
I'm trying to find the specifics about what he was sentenced to.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm guilty of hate crimes,
What country was that?
I believe it's Scotland, right?
Wow.
it was somewhere in the UK. I believe you're right. I think it was Scotland.
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if someone in the U.S. put out a video like that. Probably nothing.
Have you
I
been
don't
to
know.
youtube.com?
I mean, PewDiePie's in the UK. He's in London, I believe, where he's based, and he's.
He's in London?
But this is a little different. This guy with the pug was like actually saying stuff that I would also classify as hate speech.
Gotcha.
Like what he would do is, no offense, Barbara, he would train the dog to get excited when he would say certain phrases to the dog. And
About Jews.
I mean, one of the phrases was "gas the Jews."
Oh,
And like he would
gotcha.
say a bunch of things, and he'd go like, "You want some food? You want to go in the kitchen? Gas the Jews?" And the pug would like perk up like that. So he had taught the dog to get excited
Don't
about
wanna
that.
laugh.
Wow.
He will be sentenced on April 23rd and faces up to 6 months in prison for the offense.
Okay.
6 months in prison
Still, though, half a year for that.
for
Something you didn't intend to be.
a dumb joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, maybe a joke in bad taste.
Bad taste,
Yeah.
but even as someone who should be very offended by this, I could still see that it was in jest. And yeah, that seems like a little extreme for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like 6 months. Wow.
That's a long time for, like you said, what essentially boils down to a joke made in poor taste. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything else about the guy. I don't know if he has a history of saying anything like that, but I feel like that would have come out.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
at least he knows that that's the worst thing the dog could be. At least, like,
Yeah.
implicitly, he knows it's horrible.
Yeah, the premise is he's gonna turn the dog into something horrible.
Yeah.
This dopey little pug. And pugs when they get excited, their eyes bug out and everything.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
Fucking
ridiculous.
love pugs.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. I love all dogs.
How come you don't have a dog? We should get a dog.
I live in an apartment. I
Yeah.
feel like it'd be hard. I don't really have a yard.
You travel.
And I travel a
I think
lot.
it's almost unfair. Sometimes pet owners. Let me ask you this, Becca. So
You got like 3 dogs, right?
you have
2.
kid, soon to be kids, and you have dogs.
Yep.
Were you a person who considered your dogs to be your children?
Oh, yes.
And do you consider still, after having a child, do you still consider your dogs to be your children?
Oh, that's a
Pretty
good
much.
question.
Really?
Yeah.
So you maintain that?
So you
Yeah.
have 3 kids right now?
Like, the dogs are way more work than the kid.
But you can
at this
leave
point-
leave the dogs alone. Like you leave your kid alone. That's like
Well,
kind
Clem's
of you.
fine. She can take care of herself.
How old is Clem now?
She's almost 3.5.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's so old.
We went to a breakfast with Gavin and Meg and Maddie yesterday. We went and got a full English breakfast.
Oh, down at that
And-
English cafe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so on the way there, Clem was asking to see pictures of who we were going to go hang out with. And I showed her Gavin. She was all, he has a lot of hair.
Got a lot of hair.
He does.
Seems like there's a few people in our company that have grown these massive beards. Like Blaine has one.
Blaine has one now too.
And
yeah.
then Gavin has a massive beard. They both. I didn't realize it until they both did that. That was it. Meme or
2012.
trend?
Oh, it was like 2012
Yeah.
versus 2018.
That one. Yeah. And then they both look like holy cow. These
Yeah.
grew enormous.
Did you see
fucking
Maddie's?
beard?
Dude,
Her beard?
no, for
Right.
2012 versus 2018.
2012 versus 2018.
Michael didn't believe it was
I haven't
her. He
seen it.
confronted her about it. It's insane.
looks like a different person.
Her eyebrows are like an inch wide.
Because also
Maddie
she
the
was,
intern.
She's
Yeah, and
also
'cause
15 at the
She
time.
has like very glamorous eyebrows now. It's a very
yeah.
dramatic change.
But, well, Barb, if I may,
You may.
have you seen a cut of the Rooster Teeth documentary, the 15th
I
anniversary
have.
doc?
I have.
There's a shot of Barbara in there that I love because it's in your awkward age and you look nothing like you do today.
Yeah.
You can kind of see the person in there a little bit, you know, the person you're going to become. But yeah,
You
it's-
glue up.
You got to search real hard in that one.
you know,
no.
someone's going to edit that motion with your earlier conversation.
About the waxing. Yeah.
It's
no, I-
coming.
the second I did that, I was like, I know where this is going.
You know that's coming.
No, the documentary is looking really good. It made me really emotional too.
Yeah, it's, you
I
know,
want to see it. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm actually a little worried in one regard in particular. And so I want to kind of precede this before people see it, which is 15 years is a lot to put in just one
so much.
sit through of a documentary. So the problem is, I'm sure there's going to be people at the company who feel like they should have been featured more, and I agree with that. We should have made a documentary that features everyone. Unfortunately, that documentary would be about 15 years long,
Right.
in order to cover everybody who's been influential at Rooster.
Yeah, I mean, there were even, how can I describe it? There were even spaces that we've been in that were cut.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there were like it
Really?
Yeah, I mean just there's so much to wrap your head around. There's like a lot of I think very important things that were left out. And it's like, but I can understand like you have a very limited amount of time to try to get all this information out there.
Yeah.
Is it our usual like 45-minute documentary?
It's a
About
little
an hour. I
longer
think it's
this
like an
time.
hour and 5 minutes maybe or
No,
something.
no. I think it's gonna be
4 minutes
feature
a
length.
year.
I think it's
Is
gonna be yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Maybe
shit.
8 minutes a year.
I guess that,
This could be. It could get up.
it's still in
far.
progress.
It is, but I mean, I turned in a bunch of footage, and we talked about this on the podcast a couple weeks ago. And Gus, I know you turned in a bunch of footage as well. So there's stuff that people have never seen before. Like I had to go back to tapes to get some of that stuff.
Wow.
Is the photo of when I first met you guys at RBBTO where I got my arm signed by you?
I don't know if
In
that's in
there?
there.
I turned that into them.
Okay. I don't know
Yeah.
if they used it.
Yeah.
But I still remember
don't
that
remember
photo.
seeing
And
that.
I remember getting you guys to autograph my arm and I'm going, I'm never washing this arm again. Simmons and Church.
Yeah, we can talk
Wow.
about RBBTO and that being the origins for RTX.
Yeah.
You know, the inspiration for
Becca
it.
came, I think it was the second year.
It was 2007. So it
Okay,
might have
so
been
the third year.
Yeah.
That's when I got kicked out of the bar.
Yeah. You weren't
Yeah.
even 19. That's
Nope.
crazy.
I was 18, I think.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Just
that
hung out
bar.
in that
Yeah.
little courtyard the whole time.
Yep.
The I remember the convention. Gus, were you at the convention, or was it me and Jeff that we went to with Becca and Nathan?
I was not at that
It was
one.
in Florida,
it
and
was
we
Jeff.
convinced Becca that she had to sleep in the booth at night.
It's like my favorite story.
That was at MegaCon, I believe.
Yeah, in Orlando.
Yeah.
I got
Oh,
the
God.
flu.
Yeah, and she was
Adding
ready. She
insult
was
to injury.
she was gonna roll with it. She was, you know, Nathan was the guy who sold it. So
Really?
course.
because Jeff and I were like, no, we usually pick someone, and it's usually the newer person who has to sleep in the booth. But we feel weird about it because you're a girl, you know. Try to make her like be like, "Fuck you, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And Nathan was like, and she looked at Nathan. And Nathan goes, "It's kind of weird, but it's a normal thing."
You don't expect it from him.
You don't expect it from Nathan ever to say anything. And
And I was
like-
trying
like-
so hard to be a trooper. It was my first convention. I didn't want to be high maintenance or anything. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Do they have any blankets here? Just use the merchandise.
Oh, man.
I wish I'd been there for that.
Can we talk about video games for a second?
Sure.
Go ahead.
You playing Sea of Thieves, Gus?
I played my share of Sea of Thieves.
What is your share? Is it like everyone else, where it's like 3 to 4 hours and it's?
I
I
watched
played-
Trevor play Sea of Thieves.
Did you? For how long?
Probably about an hour.
It's fun, right? It's fun to
did-
watch.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it gets to a point where what else could you do? I don't know.
Common
Maybe-
complaint.
Yeah, then I think you start looking for other humans to fuck with.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
yeah.
It turns into a trolling game.
I feel like I should clarify I did get a code sent to me from Microsoft. So just want to
Oh, yeah, so did
put
I.
that out there.
So did I.
people,
Hashtag
people know.
ad.
I bought the sweet controller on my own, though.
Not a hashtag ad? It's not an ad? Not an ad? No, they
Hashtag
didn't.
not
They didn't pay for us to
sponsored.
talk about it. They just gave us the code.
Hashtag full disclosure.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Hashtag
Full
RT
disclosure,
podcast.
I'm a pirate.
I think it's fun. I think people complain about it more than it deserves. I think there's people who don't get it and who sit on the outside and complain, and there's people who really get swallowed by it.
Dude, I'm
and
one of those
just want to
people.
play it.
I'm fucking one of those people.
You're fucking.
You're fucking
fucking
one of
one of
those
those
people. Maybe you
You're one of
are.
those fucking
I am a
people.
little bit. Yeah.
I even like playing 2 people on the smaller ship.
What's that?
I even like playing 2 people on the
See, I'm
smaller
the same
ship.
way. I even like playing single player. I'm fine with that.
Single player is tough.
Single player is great. You just find a gunpowder barrel and you're just fucking with people. You just like put it in the front of their ship at the bottom and then just blow the thing up.
Have they fixed a lot of the glitching and errors that? people have?
Yeah, like it's an online game.
Yeah.
And it has to be online. You can't play like offline. So anything that's an online only game is always going to have those issues when you first start.
First few
Because
days were rough.
It was
They were rough.
I think it was the first day it came out, and I was watching Trevor play it, and every time he would like give a chest to the guy and collect the money would disappear instantly.
Oh, yeah.
There was also a bug where your money wouldn't show up until you quit and then relaunch the game.
That's probably what he was dealing with. Was
Right.
that. And it just
Probably.
looks like you turn the chest, it goes ka-chunk.
And then it's
nothing.
gone, yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, what happened? And then you come back later and you have it. I don't feel like I've lost any money or levels.
No, I
in
don't think
that.
I did either.
Yeah. But I have to say I said this on Glitch Please. I like the game a lot. I really, really, really like the game. And I will defend the game. At the same time, I completely understand everyone's criticism of it, and I agree with them. But those criticisms don't seem to affect
But
me.
enjoy
I feel like
it.
there's
I
some,
still love it.
There's some games where that's the case, right? Like you could say the same thing about PUBG. It's one map and you do the same thing every time over and over.
Right.
But I've played hundreds of hours of that game. It might be one of the games I played the most in my life.
Right, and I would never hear anyone say about PUBG, well, you see all the content in the first 3 hours. I mean, you literally see all the content the first time you play the game.
Right,
Unless,
you see
depending if
15 minutes of the content
you
the
might
first
find
time
a
you play the
different
game.
weapon or something like that, or, come across different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the same. It's like, for some reason, people with Sea of Thieves in particular, I guess they don't like the sailing part. Is all
I think it's about that gameplay loop, right? It's about whatever the 15 or 20 minutes that you engage in.
Right.
If you enjoy that and you enjoy repeating it, then you don't mind that you're seeing the same content
And
over
I
and over.
absolutely
It's like
enjoy
as long as that loop is okay, you can keep doing it over and over. Then that's what PUBG does. It's a 30-minute loop,
Mm-hmm.
ideally. And as long as you're having fun in that 30-minute loop over and over, you keep doing it.
But I do understand people's criticisms. I actually like that people are making the criticisms because I like the game the way it is. But I know the criticisms are going to force them to put more content in this game and add more things very, very quickly, hopefully. Dude, just follow the fucking Fortnite model, man. Make a battle royale with like
Pirate Battle Royale?
20 ships.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and then you're done. And then also update skins like once a day. Apparently, Fortnite just has people just making skins all the time.
Something I love about that game, and especially watching someone else play it, I love the sounds that like pirate movies and games have, like the creaking of the ship
Yeah.
and
Oh,
the
yeah.
water. Like I love those. Like that's ASMR for me.
Loading the cannon, chunk, chunk. I
Like,
just love that.
All that stuff.
Yeah. It's really, I think that like one thing I can say, defend that game with is they got the basics of it like down pat. In fact, Gus, on Glitch Please, I brought up the announcement trailer from E3 2015. The game looks the same. It looks the exact same as it did in 2015, 3 years ago.
It's not one of those bait and switch moves.
No, but it's like, what were the last 3 years spent doing? That's what it makes me wonder.
Perfecting the sounds.
Yeah, getting those sounds exactly
Foley.
right. Yeah. And like the combat with the skeletons is like, okay, but raids are tremendous amount of fun.
I don't remember the reveal in 2015. Is it possible that was just like an animation sequence and then that was like their goal?
Like they
and
hadn't actually
built to
started
that
making the
spec?
game yet.
But this game is kind of
the
like, it's hard to
graphics
tell the
were
difference
ready.
between the animation and the actual gameplay.
Right.
Like if it is animation, then there's like action shots of 2 ships fighting each other. And the ship models actually, do look a little different than what they ended up with in the final game. Although maybe they've got a ship model in their back pocket. I don't think so. People think that my kids actually have made the argument that Rare is sitting on a couple things that they didn't put out at release so that they could put something out a week later. I don't think that's the case. I think they put everything out there on the table, and it might be like 6 months before we see something new. Hope I'm pleasantly surprised that that's not the case, but we'll see. But I haven't played Far Cry 5, which is the other game I want to talk
I
about.
wanna
Have
play
you,
that.
have you played it?
No, I want to play that and I want to play A Way Out. But what do you think so far about Far
I want to
Cry
play A
5?
Way Out too, but I wanted to play. I look forward. I think Far Cry might be the franchise that I like the most and talk the least about.
I got into that series late. It wasn't until 3 that I really started playing
I'd
it.
say 3 for me as well. The Voss one, right?
Yeah, it was so good.
Because that's a franchise where the villain matters way more than the protagonist does. Like the charismatic villains they have. And I didn't like Pagan Min
Yeah.
from 4, but I did like Far Cry Primal, which was a weird game.
I skipped Primal. I didn't end up playing that one.
They basically just reskinned Far Cry 4. You had the exact same map, just skinned it in a more like primitive landscape and then changed the weapons and characters.
Yeah,
and
I've
all
seen that like overlay of the map showing how it's like the same thing but just different.
There are weird moments if you played Far Cry 4 and then played Primal. There's weird moments you're like deja vu almost. I've been here before, but you're not. You've been here later.
Later in the future, yeah.
It's weird. But I gotta say, I'm about 2 hours in to Far Cry 5. It's fucking amazing. It's really amazing. Like, I liked Voss as a villain in 3 because I could kind of identify with Voss, this like Central American dude who's like sick of American tourists and everything. But I couldn't at all identify with like pagan men. That really didn't leave an impression on me. This Joseph Seed, the villain in 5, they went back and now they're making a villain in America. And the way that they went about it is I completely believe that this guy could exist. I really believe it. There's some ridiculous stuff like him taking over a lot of land and, you know, the whole county and everything. But this character and this church that you go into is, I 100% believe it. It locked me in completely. I don't want to oversell it because it's coming out. And I just got to experience
It's
it.
like tomorrow.
Comes out tonight. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Tonight or tomorrow. And but man, I'm really loving Far Cry 5.
I want to play that. I wish they'd send me a code. I'll buy it.
I don't have a
Hashtag
code either.
not
I'm
ad.
paying Ashley's code to do it. She wanted to get my opinion of it because I'd played it before. But I will say this. I really love Far Cry 5. I do have a feeling that this is a fantastic game, and I will play it until it's done. And I think that Sea of Thieves is a really, really good game, and I think I'll play that like at least once a week
Just
for the
revisit
next
it?
couple years. Just like loading up because I want that experience of sailing around and everything. I just love it.
It's a beautiful looking game too.
Yeah.
It's fun just to look at.
I just like the sailing part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like my favorite thing about Assassin's Creed Black
Yeah.
Flag. And same thing, where it's like I just want to get on the water and sail a boat around. I don't think I ever fast traveled in Black Flag just because I enjoyed the seafaring so much. It's the same kind of thing.
I also don't think people have gone all the way through all the content. They think they've seen everything, but they haven't. Like on a raid, did you know there's like all the different kinds of skeletons there are?
No, I don't. No.
Okay. Like there's metal skeletons and you have to hit them with a bucket of water in order to fight them.
Do they rust?
There's ghosts.
okay.
There's ghost
Instantly?
skeletons, and somebody has to hold up a lantern so that other people can attack them. There's stuff like that
Huh.
I don't think many people have seen.
Tons of content.
Well, not tons. They're all still
There's
skeletons.
2 more
content.
skeletons.
Yeah. But I do think there's some stuff to that game that people haven't discovered. We ran into a Kraken yesterday, and yeah, it was in hindsight not that big a deal, but it was really cool to like all of a sudden everything starts changing. You're like, what's going on? And then our ship stops and these fucking tentacles come out. They reach down on the deck and they grabbed one of our dudes, and it was just like, it's really fun. I don't know. I have a good time. I might be biased because I play with my kids though too. I
Yeah.
have a good time.
They still have that childlike wonder.
Yeah, I got to play with old assholes.
Sorry, dude.
I gotta play with old assholes.
All right.
All right.
All
That's all my video
crusty.
game talk. Thank you.
I want to remind everyone, this episode of the Receipt Podcast is brought to you by. So, did you see there was, Facebook has been getting a lot of shit lately over this like Cambridge Analytica thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I saw something else a couple days ago that was really disturbing to me. I was on Ars Technica. They had an article that
That is disturbing.
let me finish the story, asshole. They had an article that someone realized that on Android for the past several years, the Facebook app has been scraping people's SMS messages and phone calls.
It's fucking awful.
And if you go
SMS messages that should be criminal.
right, if you I guess they were utilizing this loophole where it was no longer allowed in current versions of Android, but they were signing with an older version, which still allowed that kind of access.
Yeah.
And if you go to your Facebook account, you click on settings, you can download all the data Facebook has on you. And someone did that who was an Android user and saw a list of phone calls they'd made, who they were calling, the duration of those calls, and
Jesus
SMS messages
Christ.
that they were exchanging. And it's crazy. So if you are an Android Facebook user, I highly recommend you look up this Ars Technica article. Hopefully we'll put it in the linked up. And it tells you how you can download your own data and look. I don't use Facebook very much at all. So I was like, I'm going to download my data and see what's in there. It was 500 megs of shit.
Holy shit.
I was like, how the fuck do they have 500 megs of data?
They just collect it off your phone or
Right.
something like that?
I mean, it's not it was never a problem on iPhone.
Okay.
But still, it's just to see all of that information. It's that's crazy that they have that much information about me.
I can't think about it because I'm too far gone, and it just stresses me out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. I've made my mistakes. Moving forward, we'll maybe be more paranoid, but
Also,
Yeah, there's only so much.
honestly, if you don't realize that Facebook is collecting and monetizing your data, then you just don't understand what Facebook is, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, is this surprising?
Well, that's
to
a whole
anybody?
other level. I mean, phone calls and SMS messages.
Wasn't there a couple that did a test where
Yeah, that was very
I don't know
disputed.
if it's okay.
Oh, was it?
It
Yeah.
was
You
like
talk
they
about
would have conversations with their phone nearby about things that like weren't actually in their life. Like they would talk about babies, even though like
It was dog food was in
or dog
particular.
food, dog food.
Yeah.
And then they would never do any Google search for it or text about it or do anything on their phone about dog food. They would only have conversations about it. And then Facebook started showing them advertisements for dog food. I don't know if it's true or not.
I started seeing some counter arguments to that
Okay.
story, claiming that that was most likely not true, but who knows?
It's still one of those creepy things of, people always listening.
When you find a random phone in your office, then you worry about what it's listening to.
It's all full circle.
Right. It all
Because
goes
Facebook
back.
put that phone there.
So did you find whose phone it was?
I did.
Okay.
Eventually, what I did, the course of action I took was, I was like, I'm just going to walk through the Achievement Hunter offices with it and be like, is this anybody's phone? And it was somebody in the support office.
Okay.
No, okay. So they were in your office.
They were in my office.
I
were they
probably would
doing?
have reported it to like the office manager.
That's what I thought about
Yeah.
also. Or sending like a message to everybody at the company, like, hey, somebody
Yeah.
lost a phone. It's right here.
Did you hack that shit?
I hacked it.
I would imagine it would be Achievement Hunter because don't they use your room for
They do come in sometimes.
some stuff?
So that's why I was like, I'll start there. And if it's nobody in that room, then I'll let John Mace worry
They go in
about
there
it.
to make out. That's what they use Gus's office for.
That's what I need your
butts.
code for.
They had
Gus
a
has the make out room.
they make out room. I got all those
It
couches.
was too loud everywhere else.
Smooch. Yeah, they did a live stream in my office the other day.
Did you see the kerfuffle over privacy of iPhones came up again because of the Austin bomber?
No, I haven't.
No.
I've
I
not
think
heard
when
this
we
come back up.
Talked about this last week on the post show. He had not yet.
He hadn't been caught yet.
and then killed himself.
He was
Yeah.
caught like a day or two later.
Was
It
that
was
what it was?
on
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, really
yeah.
early.
It was Wednesday
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
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 But he had apparently this video which was kind of like a manifesto / confession, and the police have viewed it, and I don't think they're going to release it, which hopefully they don't. They just keep it because who cares, what this guy has to say. But the people were wondering how did they get into his phone, and there was the San Bernardino shooter that was the big deal of trying to get into that person's phone.
Right.
And I think they realized after the fact, like that might be a landmark investigation, because they realize now they could just use if the suspect is dead, they can still just use their finger to unlock their phone at that point in time.
Right.
But once they
Wow.
get them separated from one another, then they've got this thing that they can't, it's, I guess, civil rights thing where they can't unlock it,
Damn.
So it's interesting because your phone has so much information about you on it. Like you say, 500 megs of data are being captured by Facebook about you
It's a
guys.
single
I don't think I have 500 megabytes of data on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I really, I mean, what would I have? I guess video clips and stuff like that. But it's just like that's
Photos
a
and stuff?
shitload of data,
There's a device now. I'm glad you brought this up. There's a device that law enforcement can purchase called Gray Key that can crack any iPhone password. It's still unclear as to how it works.
Hence the word gray.
It's like a box.
That's a weird title to have for a law enforcement tool.
If I remember right, it's a box with 2 lightning cables that come out of it. And they plug the one they want to crack into one and then an empty phone into the other. And it sits there and it somehow bypasses the timeout when you get the passcode wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it eventually guesses the passcode, it dumps the original phone to an unlocked phone that's also plugged into the device. The current thought is that if you use a 4-digit password, which is like the old default on the iPhone, that can crack it like in, I don't remember, like 9 hours or something. Like it's pretty fast. If you use a 6-digit passcode, a 6-digit numeric passcode, which is the current default, that it takes it a couple days, like 3 days to figure it out. But if you use an alphanumeric password, it takes a crazy long
What phones have
amount of time.
alphanumerics?
You can
Any
set
of them.
alphanumeric on your phone.
Can
Yeah,
you
on an iPhone, you can.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I have switched
You need
to
a password.
alphanumeric passwords now on my phone.
Oh.
Because you don't want
Cool.
people hacking in.
Fuck that. Yeah.
I mean, no.
Because if that exists, then there's got to be other devices as well that are out there. So it's like how would you then be paranoid about leaving your phone in a hotel room or somewhere unattended for a little while so someone can grab it and plug in a device like that to it?
All I got to do,
Interesting.
listen, I'm just getting your phone. I'm finding a dope who's got a face like you, and then I can get into your phone. That's what I'm doing.
A dope.
Although there's not many people that look like Gus.
Yeah.
I'm a little
It's a
unique.
very unique
According to
looking
Twitter,
guy.
there's a billion dudes who look exactly like me because all they do is send me fucking photos of random dudes at Burger King that look just like me. And I look at them like, I don't look anything like this guy.
I always get that.
I'm so frustrated.
With me, it's like, oh, someone found a vague looking foreign person and they're sending it to me.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like, oh, it's Kim Jong-un's brother who got killed, or it's some chef from India, or some random Chinese guy they found.
Yeah, and they say, look, it looks just like
So
you
you're
guys.
like, no, that doesn't look anything like me.
I'm fascinated by it because I can see there's like one trait in particular on this person, like mouth or eyes, that looks similar, and it just shows like what that person uses for facial recognition. And it also makes it very clear to me that people now are worse at facial recognition than computers are. And they used to be a big like stopgap for machines. They couldn't do facial recognition. That was something that humans were way better at. No way.
Yeah.
Humans are way worse than machines now.
Do you ever get someone who's like, this person really looks like you, and you look at the picture and it's someone who's like very ugly?
And I want to find a photo of an ugly person and send it to the actor. Hey, this looks like you. It's like a fucking horse with its teeth hanging
Like,
out.
this
Or
looks
something
like
like
you,
that.
but bigger. Like,
And it might be the uncanny valley
Thanks.
thing when someone says, this looks just like you. It's like, that looks nothing like me. That person is horrifying.
yeah.
You know?
Then it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Do I look horrifying?
Or it's just like, you see your own face so much, so something that's kind of close to it looks more revolting to you. Like it's just
Yeah.
one step off, you know? Like a CG face that doesn't quite look human and it seems more, I don't
I
know,
still get that
disgusting.
Pretty Lady Grapes woman. You ever seen this?
Mm-mm.
You ever seen? There's a brand called, I think it's
Oh,
Pretty Lady
I've seen it,
Grapes.
yeah.
And it's at the point, like usually when
Oh,
people
I've
send
seen
me
that.
stuff, I'm like, right, she's just blonde. But this one, I'm like, does someone working at Pretty Lady Grapes know me and maybe like used my likeness for the logo?
Yeah, when you see one that somebody sends that actually does
Yeah.
look like you,
There it is.
it does
That's the
freak
Pretty
you out
Lady-
a little bit,
Pretty
right?
Lady Grapes.
Where are the pretty ribbon
Pretty
lady girl 05 grapes?
No, the creepiest one, I don't think we'll be able to find it online. But somebody sent it to us, and then at RTX, or maybe it was PAX Australia, when I was there, they brought me the actual page
Oh.
from the magazine.
Yeah.
And it was a photo that somebody said of saying, hey, look at this model. It looks like a cross between Ashley and Barbara. And we all looked at it and we're like, that looks like a fucking cross between Ashley and Barbara.
But so
We-
insanely perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really weird because it was like when you looked at it and you tried to see Ashley, you could see Ashley in the photo. And when you looked at it and tried to see Barbara, you could see Barbara in the photo. It was really bizarre. I think we must have talked about this, right?
I
Before?
don't know if we did.
Yeah.
I don't know if we showed it. I'm seeing if I could find it.
We'll send it to the control booth and see if people agree with that. I'm sure someone will tweet about it too.
yeah.
Also, I'm in the chat on the SVOD. I'm abandoning Twitter now that we have chat on the beta site.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Go.
'Cause I feel like we should let everyone know that
Yeah.
Rooster Teeth has a brand new video website. It's got a better video player. One of the things it does is it saves your spot in a video and has dramatically reduced freezing. You can chat live, like Bernie talked about, with friends and staff. Currently, it's in public beta at svod.roosterteeth.com. Marketing came up with a hashtag for it. Hashtag it works. There it is. It's on the screen. Use the hashtag RT podcast for now.
Hashtag it works.
They've got new
That
mobile,
won't come back
iPhone,
to
and
haunt
Android
us.
apps are coming out soon. All happens on March 30th. So check it out. Jump in there for now. Test it out. I think once
The same day as the Let's Play
Yeah. So I think
Spring Break.
starting next week, once it's live and publicly available for everyone, and we've switched to it, I think we will probably abandon Twitter and move the conversation to chat.
I'm already there.
On our
I'm
website.
not checking the hashtag
I'm
on
watching
Twitter.
you live on my phone
Yeah,
and
look
in
at that.
person. It's very surreal.
A little delayed.
Whoa.
A little
Not
bit
too
delayed.
bad, though.
So I'll check Twitter for now. This is your final warning, Twitter. Move it over to
I'm out.
roosterteeth.com.
I'm done. I'm like,
starting next week.
what's the Kardashian chicken Snapchat? Who's the one, young
The
one?
Kardashian chicken Snapchat?
Chloe? Chloe?
Kylie,
Kylie? What's her name? I don't know
Kylie.
any of these people.
there's the most followed
are you
person on Snapchat. Or
trying
whatever.
to say?
Is that who you're thinking?
My
I'm out. She's like, I'm done with Snapchat.
Oh, I thought you're like, what's it, chicken?
Snapchat's
Kylie
Snap-
I just said chicken.
Snapchat's so fucking dead.
It's so
I
dead.
get less than half the engagement that I used to get.
Dude,
as
I
far
made
as
this
opens.
comment like 3 months ago and I got blasted.
Yeah, I
Like,
think about that a lot. I was on that with you.
And people were like, you just don't understand.
It's
I'm
that
on
new-
Snapchat all day with my friends. I'm like, no, it's dropping.
That new update fucked them. And they're
Oh,
like doubling
God.
that. They're refusing to say that they'll go back or change it. It's terrible.
That's a tough
It's
deal.
because Instagram has pretty much everything Snapchat used,
Which
plus Instagram features.
Plus,
So,
I have a much larger following on Instagram.
Do you
I
know what
was
you're
using-
following on Snapchat is?
Snapchat, you don't even
Yeah,
you
you
can't
can
even
see.
see that stuff.
You can see your opens and
you can
stuff.
see opens, but that doesn't
Like,
really.
or you can
prove
see
anything.
But that's your
added you.
engagement. I mean, that's really what's most important.
I guess.
Like I was using Snapchat because I
Using
didn't want to.
logic.
I didn't want to use Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, fuck. Well, I chose wrong. I gotta fucking.
I found out that Gus has an Instagram account.
Yeah.
And
Corolla.
didn't say anything about it, and I followed you on Instagram.
He has some nice
He's been
photos up
posting-
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you,
you do.
you do. Your travel
Thank
photos
you.
are very nice.
Like I need to post there more. I'm still fucking stuck on
Gut,
Snapchat.
I know.
don't
Jeff
know.
has some very nice photos on his Instagram too.
I'm gonna hit a year on my Instagram account in like a couple weeks, and then I think
No,
I'm
you're
Have
gonna keep
have you
using it.
aged out.
I know. I think I use it more on a viewer basis. Like I use my account to like just see what my friends are up to. Although I have to say that Instagram is the one application that when I load it up, I get pictures of my friends' butts. And it's usually like I'm on an airplane and I'm just like scrolling, but it's like I can't scroll fast
I'm
enough
at
to
the
get.
point where I'm like close to unfollowing some people who post a lot of butts.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just can't look at your
Where can
stuff
people go to
ever.
find these butts?
Yeah.
Instagram.com
Yeah, it's just like
/ B Dunkelman.
You don't realize until you're like in a public setting, like an airplane. It's like, oh, some of my friends post.
No, it's for work. It's for work.
Yeah, exactly right.
I know this
Like
person.
I know this person. Yeah, which is a weird thing to
They're
say.
my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what was it? I recently like I liked one of Jessica Negri's like one of her sexy photos.
Yeah.
And then someone reached out to me like, "Hey, you just so you know, people can publicly see the stuff you like." I was like,
You're like,
"Yeah,
"What?"
I know that. I know her." Like, like
Yeah.
don't tell me how Twitter works.
I tend to like photos of my friends that are like I like the ones that I don't find that sexy. Does that make sense? Like if I find like, oh, that's a really hot photo, I'm like, well, I shouldn't like that because that's a friend. That's a friend
Like-
of mine.
Yeah, normally I like the other
Hey, buddy,
stuff.
you don't like any of my
I
photos.
like back.
What are you
I like
saying?
back off a little bit. It's like, oh,
What
this
what
one's okay.
types of photos are recommended for you guys? Like when
Oh,
you go
that's
to
a good question.
search, what do you skew toward?
I also can't find that picture.
I like how we
Search?
abandoned Twitter like literally 5 minutes ago, and now we're on Instagram.
I never use. It's funny. I never use the Twitter website. Oh, you mean on Instagram?
On Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram.
Like when you hit search, like I've got like some like
My stuff is all baby pigs, hair videos, fashion posts.
Where do I find this?
If you go to the little,
little magnifying glass.
Oh,
I've got
And-
comedians, music. I don't know.
I have a
what
lot of
this
cake
is.
decorating stuff.
mine is
like-
somebody power washing a car.
Got some cosplay. Picture of
Such a
Amy
dad.
Sedaris and Sarah Jessica Parker.
It's actually ASMR oddly fascinating. Have you seen the power washing video?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I have a lot of ASMR.
Here's a
stuff, too.
baby asleep in a toilet.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah, I probably have a lot of baby stuff too, right?
Yeah, lots of baby stuff.
Yeah, my stuff is a lot of hair stuff. I guess I look a lot of hair pictures on Instagram.
I got a lot of cats.
I also get a lot of dogs with their tongues hanging out of their mouth.
I have a couple of fish in mine. I don't know what to think about that.
Fish?
What?
I guess maybe like travel stuff.
You got some little
It's
dogs.
It's a weird mix.
I like how you have some eyebrow thing
I
there.
don't know what the fuck. Oh, it's nose. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
no
I was
rhyme or
like-
reason
It's
at
nose.
all.
Yeah, I was like, I don't. Some weird low hanging dick there.
Yeah,
A lot of Vine stuff too,
I love Vines.
like Vine-ish type content because I just love that stuff. I'm so sad that Vine is gone.
We should do Rooster Teeth Vines again.
There's no reason why we can't, right? Except for the fact that YouTube algorithm fucking hates
Oh,
all
just
that
put
stuff.
them on Instagram.
Or just put them on the Rooster Teeth side. That's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
Or just
have you
put a
seen-
bunch of
yeah,
them
there you
so
go.
that it's like 14 minutes long of
Rapid
just 6
fire.
second videos.
Dude,
Exactly.
those like compilations of Vine videos have
Millions.
tens and tens of millions of
It's
views.
guaranteed to
That's-
laugh every 6 seconds.
140 vines is what it would take.
140
Damn.
Vines, 6 seconds each. Okay.
Yeah, to fill up 14 minutes.
100. 140
quick
Vines
math
is
there with
hard.
the obvious
to
numbers.
I
filter it
remember-
out.
Hard to
Well,
make.
we used to script
Oh,
those.
10. Yeah. Duh.
Bernie would come in with like 5 or 6 scripts for
Yeah.
Vines. And they were obviously like 1 page each.
Right.
And then we would like have to go and get all the props we needed.
Yep.
And we would sit ourselves down in that room for like a couple hours.
Because
They didn't
it-
have the editing.
they didn't have the editor. We had to get everything right in the phone before we saved it. That was a fucking nightmare.
Nightmare. There was the one that took, I think, the longest was the one with the gallon challenge, where
Yeah,
one of us was supposed to burp on command.
that was me.
It just was impossible.
And then you had to burp like within a second of when you're supposed to burp.
Yeah.
And it seems super easy because I can make
Yeah, you have
myself
to do
burp.
that little initiation.
You gotta prep it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't
But-
burp on command.
But then every
Really?
time I
No.
burped and got it right, then I would just start laughing.
Start
And
laughing.
Everyone
Ruin
was
a take.
furious with me. Furious. That's actually in the compilation.
Oh yeah, then
Yeah.
I think in the bloopers at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
There's a subreddit called YouTube Haikus. Have you ever seen it?
Oh, that's my favorite.
It's so good.
What is it?
It's basically the new Vine, where it's like something horrible happening to someone in a very short period of time on a YouTube video.
Yeah, I think it's like the haiku is 5 seconds, and then there's also like
Yeah.
poetry or there's like multiple kinds where it's like each descriptor is a different length of time, and the haiku ones are I think like 5 seconds or something like
Yeah.
that. But they're always fucking hilarious.
I gotta check it out. I've never even heard of it.
r/YouTube haiku, haiku or haikus.
There, I think someone claimed both. One of them is the obvious one.
Yeah, it good.
I'm looking, but my internet's not working very good.
Why not?
I'm watching
there we
Bernie
go.
chat on
I am.
the
I'm
live
chatting.
stream.
Okay,
So-
it looks like it's haiku.
Okay.
I meant to say, am I back in the chat? But I wrote, am I still in Vines? I don't know why. I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm gonna stop doing that. Yeah, but
How do you do, fellow
when we
kids?
were doing we talked about this with the Twitch stuff last week, but I get distracted by the content and I forget about the chat for a while. But there's some people who just like they get locked into the chat
Yeah.
and then they don't watch the content. So it's like it just goes to show. I think that really the chat part of it, the communication part of it, is still the most powerful thing. That's what
yeah.
people want.
I think it also depends on if you're watching something new versus something old.
Yeah.
Like when we did that test stream the other week, that was all like previous content except for like a couple live streams. That were
Nomad was
happening.
new.
Nomad was new. and
Nomad was like 2 hours old.
Off topic also was new.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff is more easy to engage with, like live streams. But if like a new episode of Ruby comes out, I feel like the chat would be fairly quiet for not quiet because people would still be reacting. I don't know. I feel like it'd be balanced a little better.
They'd be like, what?
What?
No.
Cool. Oh my god.
I would just make shit up. When are
I
they
see it's
gonna
already
have
happening.
sex?
I see here in the chat on the SVOD, who is this? Echo Clo? Us forgetting about the podcast and just talking to each other here.
They are?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it's already happening.
thanks guys.
Making friends.
We're talking here. You can pay attention to us too.
It is
Hi, chat.
hard to remember this, but you guys will remember this probably. There was a point in time when the community site on Rooster Teeth was such a big part of the draw for the website that there was this running joke of, oh right, this website has a front page. Like when someone would post a piece of Rooster Teeth content in the forums, people would be like, get that out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're not here for the videos or
Like,
whatever.
oh yeah, they still make content.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. There was like a pretty long period of time in there where that was the thing.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
probably like 2007 to 2010 ish.
Yeah, where there were people who were just there for the social media site, and that was it.
I journaled almost every day on our site for so long.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassing time capsule to go back in.
Yeah, go
but-
back and look at it.
Whew, yeah.
Do you feel like people don't do that as much now just because of all the social media that we do use? It's always short form. So people aren't as likely to just like talk. in
It could
journal
be.
form?
And I also think it's a gratification thing where there aren't as many people interacting with what they've posted. Like if they posted the same thing on Twitter, they'd get a lot more responses.
Yeah.
Well,
It could also be like an intimidation thing, like as far as the content, like people don't have the attention span or the desire to read something more long form.
yeah.
I don't know. It's
What
tough, like,
about
it's
posting
changed.
it though? Why?
But that goes back to gratification.
I got you. Okay.
Like there's less gratification because there's less engagement on it.
I post on the Rooster Teeth site for my journal. I post primarily about video game stuff because I just don't do that on Twitter. If I'm doing anything video game related, movie related as well, or just anything I want to have a discussion about.
Yeah.
And I don't do that on Twitter. Like I don't ask questions on Twitter. You know.
Twitter, I guess, is more like statements.
I just make jokes on
Yeah.
Twitter. I just write like
Yeah,
one-line
I like-
jokes essentially.
I like to entertain the bots and Russian trolls on Twitter. That's my my new favorite thing these days. I did want to mention if you're having trouble connecting to the SVOD chat right now, like I said, it is still in beta, hasn't launched, so please refresh it, try to get in there, break it. That way we know what's wrong and we can fix it
Exactly.
before it launches.
So
for
that our
everyone.
hashtag is actually going to be accurate.
Yeah. Thanks, marketing.
It works. I didn't come
Hey.
up with it. Neither did Becca. We were passerbyers.
Yeah, you two are the closest ones. You're going to get my ire over it.
That's okay.
I finished an interesting documentary miniseries on Netflix this weekend.
You
Called-
watched American Vandal.
Wild Wild Country.
Got it. It was close.
Wild, wild country?
That's a sex one. It's about a sex cult, right?
Kinda. I mean, it's about a cult that like has a lot of sex, but it's not really the
Which
core
one
focus.
doesn't?
Wild, wild country is a sex cult documentary you didn't know you did.
I haven't seen it.
It's produced by the Duplass brothers, and it's got good music. And
I
it's
didn't
cool.
know that.
Yeah. That's why I started watching it because Mark Duplass was like tweeting about it, and he's like, "Watch it before it gets spoiled."
Shit. Okay. Well, don't say that.
But
either.
it's really crazy. I mean, everyone I've talked to and asked about this that was conscious during the time that this was going on has zero recollection of it. It happened from like 81 to 85 was like the big heyday of it.
I wouldn't even remember that. That's
And it was in Oregon.
Uh-huh.
So, and this cult moved in. They bought this 80,000 acre ranch and moved all their followers over from India. They had a lot of Western followers. Yeah. And so they basically infiltrated the local government
Sounds like Far Cry 5.
it just
and
so
tried
far,
to
so good.
intimidate the locals in this rural Oregon county to basically earn all the voting rights. And it all fell apart. It's really fascinating.
How many?
You're
episodes?
describing the
Six.
setup for Far Cry 5 as far as I
Yeah,
understand it.
you're pretty freaking close, except for the moving from India part.
But it was a big deal. Like they showed clips of Johnny Carson talking about it on his show. It was, in the New York Times, and no one remembers it.
Really?
Huh.
We'll have to watch it, but I'd be curious what made it all fall apart. That's always interesting. So
The sex.
So what's the sex cult part? Were they all doing it?
So it was their basic tenet was that they wanted to combine Eastern mysticism
Mysticism. There you go.
with
Boners.
Western like commerciality, greed,
So where does the sex come in?
consumerism, and so
Bernie just wants the sex.
it's a
raw,
a
hard
spiritual
facts.
cult that embraced consumerism and also had no stigmas around sex at all.
It's like
And
they just.
up-
I feel like they like kind of like shoehorned in that bit. Like, oh, we combine these two cultures, and also there's no stigma about sex.
Yeah.
They know sex.
and part of their meditation ritual was sometimes, just like boning, just
Me too.
bursting into that spontaneously.
That's how I relax.
I'm
Go
going to be
on.
looking up real estate in Oregon as of
We
tomorrow.
got 80,000
Well, this-
acres available.
This
Start a
ranch
cult.
is now like a youth Christian summer camp.
Oh, so the same thing.
Same, yeah, they were like, the locals were all, it's just as bad.
Anyone else ever been to Young Life
It is
before?
the Young Life. It's a Young Life.
Is it Young Life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Young Life?
I believe it's Baptist. Is
I
that
don't know. Don't
correct?
look at me. I don't
It's like a
fucking know
youth
about that.
organization. I grew up in Houston, which is a huge Baptist.
You knew what it was. What is it?
Well, I only knew from the documentary.
Oh.
Yo, you didn't know that Young Life was a thing? Yeah, I grew up with a
Yeah,
lot of
it's,
kids
it's
who were
like
in
an
Young Life.
abstinence heavy.
Listen,
That-
I want to be clear. Very noble organization, Young Life. It's all great. I was never been a
Not
member of
implying anything.
Young Life myself.
Bernie
Yeah.
never had a young life.
Never
He
did.
he was born a 40-year-old
I
man.
was born in a baseball cap who looks just like other dudes at Burger King. Apparently.
They said that not to go back to it, but I'm going to go back to it. They said that Austin Bomber was part of a survivalist group
For homeschool kids.
that they said
Also, the photo they circulating of this guy is totally different
Right.
from the way he looked.
right. They said it's a non-violent group that's called Riot. Why the fuck would you call your group Riot?
And they
It's
also
righteous
discussed
invasion
explosive
of
devices,
truth.
right?
Dangerous chemicals.
Wasn't
Dangerous
he
chemicals.
wearing a wig
when he
in some
dropped off the
video?
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
when he dropped off the
He
box
looks
at
crazy.
the FedEx
Yeah.
place? He was wearing like a white
But
blonde
Like
wig.
there
super
was
blonde
an
wig.
updated photo that has been released, but it's not
The one
the
of him
photo.
with glasses.
Right. It's not the photo that's being widely circulated.
Which is like this look like this high school kid at
I
like
He's
also don't
18,
care
I
what this
think, in that
motherfucker
other
looks like.
picture.
He could burn in hell.
No, I mean I agree. He's a piece of shit. But it's like, why do we distribute this like photo that makes him look more innocent or
Oh, no idea.
I have to
Right.
assume that's all they had for a really long time.
right? But then the updated photo comes out.
Yeah.
But don't even put his fucking photo out. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't believe in the afterlife, but I hope hell exists and he's there.
Me too.
yeah, it's so sad to read about those lives that are lost to this like just random act of violence. Oh, I shouldn't say random because it appears that he was targeting, at first at least, he was targeting minority families.
Yeah, but I think in his confession he said that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Like something
he
written in
claimed.
his phone.
Did
Like-
he really do? I'm not racist.
Can you
what,
imagine
for his
being
confession?
one of the recipients of the packages he mailed that were caught midway?
Oh yeah, I didn't
mean-
think about that.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
they notify those people?
Yeah, some people
One
I think at
person's
a,
come
like a
forward.
spa.
Yeah, it was
out,
a spa in West Sixth. It was
it's
targeted
like a mother
toward her
and daughter who worked there. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was the daughter who was supposed to be the recipient of the package.
Jesus.
Yeah. They've never met him, had no idea who he was. He had never been there.
How do you have their name and like?
Didn't they go Didn't he go to the same school? No, he was homeschooled. Never mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought there was like some weird tenuous maybe connection.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Bizarre.
Yeah, very very bizarre, and that's also like kind of stirred up the debate over gun control over this guy, terrorizing people with bombs, and bombs are illegal.
We talked about bomb control last week.
Did we?
Yeah, didn't we?
Did we
Did we?
on the steak podcast?
Bomb control stuff?
Or was it in the
I
post
think
show?
in the post show.
Yeah, I think
post
in the
show,
post show we
yeah,
did talk
we
about it.
didn't talk about the bomber during the main show.
Yeah, that was after.
Yeah, and I've seen people tweeting about it ever since then. I don't know, man. It's just like the political discourse in this country is just like it's just like you're on one side or the other, and you have to subscribe to everything on one side or subscribe to everything on the other side. It's like you can't like pick and choose like where you stand on any particular issue. It's like, well, I like lower taxes, so I'm also super pro religion. You know what I mean? It's just like these things don't go hand in hand, but somehow they do in this country.
Right.
I don't get it.
I don't know. Yeah, it's bizarre. It's like it's a side effect of this stupid two-party system we have. There's no nuance available. It's either one extreme or another with nothing in between.
Yeah, like the Stormy Daniels thing with Trump right now.
Ugh.
Everyone's like, she was on 60 Minutes. Was she interviewed by Anderson Cooper? Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Anderson
Ratings
Cooper.
were through the roof. It's like, honestly, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I intentionally didn't watch it. Like, I don't give a fuck.
I
don't
watched
wanna-
like 5 minutes of it. And I was
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Who gives a shit what he's doing in his private life? If he's not doing anything criminal, right? And it's like, and the people are like, well, this could violate
Tax stuff.
or tax
Yeah.
laws or voter funding fraud or something like that for election fraud. Because it's the way you can use election funds at the time. It's like this is not what it's meant to catch. Is this kind of thing?
Right.
Of like
They're not doing an interview with her about this election fund scandal.
yeah, there's enough other stuff to concentrate on without being distracted by this. And it just reminds me of like the whole Clinton and Monica Lewinsky thing. It was gross then, it's gross now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
He was impeached. We were talking about that before the podcast. He was impeached over some of that stuff because he lied under oath to a grand jury.
yeah.
And it's
The
weird.
non-denial denial.
I'll never
Right.
forget. To me, like I thought, okay, we've reached a whole new level of low. Was when those congressional hearings they had with Monica Lewinsky in them, and who's the lady who recorded her?
Paula Jones?
Yeah.
Paula Jones. Was that-
Paula
No,
Deen.
that's somebody else. Anyway, they had the whole hearing with
Jennifer
Monica
Flowers?
Lewinsky. No, that's another one.
There were so many.
There's another one of Clinton's. No, Linda Tripp.
Linda Tripp, yeah.
They had those whole hearings with Linda Tripp and Monica Lewinsky, and I remember they pulled that. If I recall correctly, it was a blue dress from the Gap,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
and it had a cum stain on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about the president's cum stain on dress. I thought, is this really happening? Is this like the Congress is debating a cum stain from the president? It's like, that's what
now.
I was like, that's what I realized we had reached a point is like, for anything to be acceptable, it just has to happen. Like you would never envision that. If you tell people in a year we're going to be talking about a dress with a
presidential
cum
cum
stain,
stain.
Yeah.
a cum stain on it, be like, that's never going to fucking happen. They would never do that. They absolutely did it. They busted that dress out and they like had it in like the dry cleaning wrap, and it was so disgusting.
It was in
whole
the
thing.
shape of the presidential seal.
Yeah, and
amazing.
Just like with Trump now, back with Clinton, the whole thing, I didn't give a fuck. You know, if Hillary wants to like beat the shit out of him with a fucking frying pan, let her do it. You know, that's fine too. But you know, it is. What does that have to do with anything? You know, what does Trump having slept with a porn star? What does that have anything to do with his effectiveness as a leader? There's so many other
Or
things to be concerned about.
ineffectiveness.
Literally everything else.
Literally,
Literally everything about him.
Yeah.
Is something we should be concerned about.
Totally
For his
agree.
effectiveness
I think people are
as
just
a leader.
frustrated because nothing's sticking at this point.
Yeah.
Or doesn't. There's the perception that it's not.
It's not. So you know why? Because you fucking let yourself get distracted
Right.
by
Something else comes
anything
up.
and everything.
Right. You're just restarting that cycle over and over.
It was funny because I woke up the other day to everybody talking about Trump threatening to beat up Joe
Yes.
Biden. Threatening to beat up Joe Biden.
I must have missed that.
Yeah,
was a
he was
tweet.
like, he's old man, I'll beat the crap out of him. And like, it was all this like schoolyard talk. and everyone's like,
God.
this is so unpresidential. And I'm like, what is Trump covering for today? Because that's clearly, to me, a distraction one. And it's like, there must have been something else big that everyone was talking about. And he got them all talking
Yeah.
about something else.
Also, what has he ever said that has been presidential?
He read a speech and didn't veer off topic that one time, like a year ago.
Oh,
They're like, "Oh, this is the moment you became president."
I mean, I guess presidential is like what aligns with what I agree with, and there hasn't been much with Trump. But when he went after congressmen or people about being in the pocket of the NRA, he just recently did that and was directly telling them that they were, just taking money from the NRA and they're in their pocket and they need to stop doing that. I was like, hey, I identify with my president today. This is one of the few days I can say that. Everyone over there is like very silent.
White House walks
positive
back
things.
Trump gun control comments after his NRA meeting.
What's that?
White House walks back Trump gun control comments after his NRA meeting. I mean, come on.
But he did say it.
He said it, but then they're like, "Oh no, they're cool." I mean, fuck.
I found the tweet. He said, "Crazy Joe Biden is trying to act like a tough guy. Actually, he is weak, both mentally
Doing
and
bad.
physically. And yet he threatens me for the second time with physical assault. He doesn't know me, but he would go down fast and hard, crying all the way. Don't threaten people, Joe."
So when you wake up and that's the tweet of the day, then you've got to
Yeah.
me it's just like there's something else. He's making that tweet. And there's something else he's trying to distract.
It's amazing.
He's mad about something.
I don't follow Donald Trump on Twitter. I'm sure none of y'all
I
do
don't
either.
either.
But I
I
feel like I see every single
do
one
too.
of his
Yeah,
tweets.
you don't have to. You'll see it. It's gonna come up.
Because I follow some of his biggest fans who don't realize they're his biggest fans.
Yeah, it's like the Howard Stern effect.
It is.
It's,
totally.
it's the exact same thing where it's like he sings stuff that's so unbelievable. What's he gonna say next? Oh, I hate that guy. I can't miss a word.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing.
This guy shouldn't be saying this. Let me broadcast it to everyone who
Right.
follows me.
It's exactly the same. I don't know how people don't see that. It's really funny to me. Yeah.
What are you guys playing? You playing anything? Young Life, by the way, this is from Ian Weitzel. Young Life is a Christian-based youth group focused on leading kids towards Jesus. I'm a junior leader for it in my area in Arizona. There you go.
Cool.
That's the mission of Young Life.
Now we know.
Now we
I thought-
know.
It sounds like you're about to say young blood.
What is young blood?
Isn't that like a term for some? I don't know. Ignore me.
All right,
Youngblood?
we'll ignore you.
Edit this out.
You know what we can talk about? How this episode of the Rooster Teeth podcast
There it
is
is.
also brought to you by from Dollar Shave Club Executive Razor. It's all this stuff here that's bare. I have to shave that. In fact, I'm even thinking of. I didn't write this. I'm even thinking of shaving my dog Oswald just so you can feel the wonderful smooth sensation of a Dollar Shave Club offers each and every time. I'm not shaving my dog. Probably not the best idea I've had today.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Have you ever shaved Oswald?
No, he's got like a lion mane thing going, and I wouldn't want to interfere with that.
Oh.
He was a little jerk the other day. Anyway, I'm mad at him.
We were
What
talking.
did you do? What did you do?
He was just being an asshole. Like, I don't know. Like, he kept waking me up in the middle of the night. Like, he
I'm always curious what
my-
people mean when they say their dogs are being
my
assholes.
dogs are normally sleep through the night, no problem. Like, they got their crate, but he just like was antsy or something and did not want to go to sleep. It's the first time that he's ever done that. I was
Maybe he's
so
having
fucking mad at him.
nightmares.
I don't know.
Poor little guy.
I was mad though.
So my dogs sleep in bed with us, and they do this
mean your
thing
children?
now. Yes, they seriously sleep like humans. They
like-
sleep with their heads on the pillow. We're all lined up like Charlie Bucket's in-laws or whatever.
Busting out the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reference.
But they will get up in the middle of the night. One of them will go get water, make a lot of noise, then go to the door, scratch to go out. I let them out. They do their thing. They come back in. I get up again to let them back in. The second I shut the door and get back in bed, the other one starts the process. They can never coordinate,
Little
ever.
assholes.
So it's like a 10-minute ordeal, and I'm wide awake at that
Can
point.
you put a little like doggy door in your door?
I've thought about doing that.
But ours are all glass. So yeah, it's
You gotta
it's
cut a
whole
hole in the
thing.
wall then.
Yeah.
You
Why
had
do
them
you
doors
keep the
closed?
door closed then? Or it's to the outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Outside door.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
My
Why'd you
bedroom
leave them
door
open?
has this thing where if you shut it all the way, first of all, the cat will fucking meow, nutmeg, and then if you open it like 5 degrees, it's fine. But if you open it less than 5 degrees, it stays open. But then it does this thing where it just, I don't know why, maybe the air conditioning goes, it does all fucking night. And it's one of those things, it's literally like 4 feet away from my bed. And I just think, I'm gonna get up and shut the door. I'm gonna get up and shut the door. Or open it a little bit further. And I just can't make myself
Just
get out.
WD-40 it.
First of all, WD-40, is that a lubricant or does that clean out lubricant?
It's a
It's
lubricant.
lubricant.
I don't know if that's true.
Don't use it for sex.
I put it, I hinged.
It is
I
absolutely.
WD-40'd all my
lubricant,
hinges
yeah.
like a year ago.
I
It
was always
great.
told don't use WD-40 in the place of oil because it strips out oil. And to leave oil, it's a more permanent solution. And now you use grease to clean grease. Do you not?
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
It's like how you could use nail polish to remove nail polish. You know about that?
Yes.
You just paint over it.
You just paint over it and then wipe it right away when it's still wet.
We'll
It's
paint
not
over
the
it.
best method, but
It's not the
works.
best if you're in a pickle.
If you do what?
If you have
Basically-
nail polish on
Yeah.
and you paint nail polish over the nail polish and then you wipe it, it'll come off.
It
Oh, okay,
basically
that makes sense.
Regelifies
Yeah.
the base.
Same kind of thing if you use a permanent marker on a dry erase board. Just take a dry erase marker and color over that and then erase it.
That's bullshit.
It works.
Is it really?
Wow.
It's a little trick, a little life hack. Just like color right back over it. Although I did see a really funny clip the other day where someone had drawn on a dry erase board this like
Dicks?
giant cat, and then the teacher came in and erased it, and with permanent marker they had drawn a huge penis.
Yeah.
A basic cat on
Yeah.
it. And so then there's this huge dick.
Well, then it
on
didn't
the-
work in
on
that
the
case,
whiteboard.
right?
Well, no, they had done it in two different parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there was the dick, and then they added with the dry erase, they added the cat bits, and then the cat bits were what it got erased.
Patrick is saying from the WD-40 website, it's a myth that it's not really lubricant. The fact is, it is a unique, special blend of lubricants.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm a
Lube it up.
full victim to a mechanic's wives' tale that you should use WD-40 to lubricate stuff.
Have you seen that video? I think someone uploaded to YouTube yesterday or the day before, where someone made a knife out of a roll of aluminum foil.
Yes.
By the way,
yes.
WD-40 is not a lubricant; is the first autocomplete.
I watched that I think yesterday.
That's so fucking cool. Like
Yeah.
it was such. It seemed like that would have taken a really long time to go through all the steps.
Oh, he hammers that thing and heats it up and hammers it, I think, 10, 15 times.
It seemed, yeah. But it's crazy. I never made that connection that you could do, like, you could make aluminum foil into a block of aluminum, which is like step one, what he does, right?
Yeah.
Like he just rolls it all up, takes the inside out, which I don't know why he did that.
Hammers.
Like, why didn't he just take the original cardboard out. I don't understand why he did that first step. But anyway, that you could just take it all, compress it, heat it, hammer it down, and you've got a block of aluminum. And he even does that for a while, like where he's like tapping it to show you like that it's a solid piece of metal.
Yeah.
It's just a really cool like recontextualization of what you this
It's like a
flimsy thing.
15-minute video, but most of it's sped up. I want to know what the real time on it was.
Yeah.
Like how many hours?
And he even like makes that wood handle and puts screws in it and cuts them
And he
off.
like sands it down on different types of material.
And then he uses like whetstones to like sharpen it and
Yeah.
really get I
Oh,
mean
this
that's
is it.
That's a roll of aluminum foil that he has heated and hammered so that
Hammers
it's like
it.
a solid block of aluminum.
Yep.
And then makes a
he
knife out of that.
Heats it up and hammers it again. Heats it up and hammers it again. And he does this process so many times.
It's really, really fascinating. I never thought to do that. I love that YouTube exists so you can learn
too.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Me too.
That's really, really cool.
I mean, I
idea.
love the internet in general because there's stuff I wondered about my whole life, like pre-internet, and then finally was like, oh, I can look it up. I wondered about this when I was a kid and looked
Where
it up.
do babies come from?
I've always wondered, where do they come from?
I haven't Googled that one yet.
You wanna
should
watch?
research it. You should
Yeah.
research it. No, I don't want to
we-
watch. Thanks for offering that.
Hey.
Well, one thing I always wondered as a kid was
Kiss me.
what side of aluminum foil should you use to put around the food?
Mm.
Because one side is
Shiny,
dull and one
yeah.
side is shiny.
I've never
Aren't you
noticed
supposed
that.
to have the dull side out?
The truth is, the answer is it doesn't matter. They're not different. They're the same thing. It's because when they make aluminum foil, they press two sheets of aluminum together, and the inside makes the dull, and the outside is the shiny, or vice versa. I think
Yeah,
it's
you're correct.
And so, but then they just separate them when they press them. So that's why it looks like there's two different
think-
sides to aluminum foil.
I think it can make a minor difference, but it's really negligible.
And maybe it's for
like,
like
as far as
radiant
heat
energy, it'll reflect it.
It's exactly it.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's like one of those. That's what I love about the internet is you can look shit up like that and people see. Speaking of which, lifehacker.com, WD-40. It seems like WD-40 can be used to lubricate just about any moving metal part. But is this true? Are there instances where WD-40 can be harmful? Answer: hold up. WD-40 is not an actual lubricant. WD stands for water displacing. And its main use is as a solvent or rust dissolver.
So
The lubricant-like properties of WD-40 come not from the substance itself, but from dissolving components, and the effect does not last.
Okay, so I only read a selection from their website. Now that you've read that, I'm going to read you the entire passage here.
Okay.
Because it specifically counters that claim. While the WD in WD-40 stands for water displacement, WD-40 multi-use product is a unique special blend of lubricants. So it's true that it stands for water displacement, but it is still a blend of lubricants.
Yeah, but is lubricant like a scientific term? I mean, it's if I wanna get a lid off a jar, I can use hot water. It's a lubricant. I wouldn't use that to, oil bearings in my car.
You could use some lube to not squeak your hinges,
What
probably.
if it's just Astroglide, Becca,
Yeah.
in a spray container?
I mean, probably. Vaseline them up.
Vaseline. I don't think I've ever used Vaseline as a lubricant. I
I've
don't
had
think I have.
to Use Vaseline every day for the last week.
Really?
Why?
Yeah, I got
Congratulations, Trevor. Sorry.
Now we don't
Sorry.
need it.
Sorry.
But it's funny because Trevor happened to see a mole on my back that looked a little
Suspect?
suspect, and I have a lot of moles and freckles and stuff. It's from my mom's side. Everyone in that side of the family has a lot, and it was my first time going to the dermatologist to get like a whole body check.
It's thorough.
Very thorough.
Yeah.
You're naked.
They go
pretty
into
much.
crevices.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which
They
is
look-
good because
You're on the hunt.
if you're prone to them, especially, and if you're fair skinned, you should get checked out.
White people have it the worst.
But I walked into the. Just gonna breeze right.
I couldn't hold it. I couldn't hold it in.
Okay, Gus wasn't even looking up when he laughed at that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. But I went in and the doctor was like, "Oh, is there anything in particular that you're wanting to get checked out? Like, we're obviously gonna look everywhere." And I was like, "Yeah, my boyfriend saw a mole on the back of my on my back that looked suspicious." And she's like, "Okay, we'll get to that." She's looking at my body. She gets to my back, and the second she sees it, she goes, "Oh yeah, that needs to come off."
Oh, really?
Yeah, like today. She's like, "Yeah, this looks very suspect."
No kidding.
And so they removed it that day, and I have like stitches in my back, and I have to keep it moist and Vaselined up.
It's
all
like
the
a
time.
melon baller they used to get that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I always think of.
Yeah.
It's the ABCDs you're supposed to look for when it comes to moles. It's an asymmetry of the It's an asymmetry of the mole.
Aardvark,
The irregular border.
bears.
Color.
Color, if it's like
Crocodile.
the color changes or is it's miscolored, and then the diameter. If the diameter is bigger than the size of a pencil eraser.
Denmark.
So those are the 4 indicators you should look at when you're looking at moles. I know because I have a lot of moles.
I have
So
one that
ABC.
is now
In your
bigger
stomach?
than a pencil eraser.
Oh, it's probably fine.
Could it stretch out on you?
Yeah.
Now it is.
It's funny because I have my first dog's paws tattooed on my stomach. And they're
Are they just stretching?
bare
Oh, is that
claws
what those paws are?
Yeah.
I never knew
Yeah,
that.
they're Bosworth's paws.
I never ever knew that. Becca was our very first ever model for the Rooster Teeth store. Besides, I think Gus was the only other one.
Yeah.
I don't know if
had.
he counts.
Yeah, and especially for when our first attempt to have lines of clothing for our female viewers, she was the model for all that stuff.
I remember, yeah, she had
paws.
your tattoos showing in some of them.
Yeah, that's how I was
Yeah.
thinking. Like, I didn't know she had those tattoos until we took those photos. And I didn't know until right now that it was actually based on your first dog's paws.
I chased him around, put poster paint on his paws.
Really?
Yeah. And then he hid under the bed for like 3 hours.
I didn't know that.
Feared
I
paint
like
for the
tattoos
rest
that
of
have a
his
story
life.
behind them.
Like an Atari
Every-
logo.
Yeah, like yours is all
Every
like,
tattoo
yeah.
should have a story.
Like your blade tattoo is a great
It's
story. I
great.
told that story for years.
Someone thought I had ink on my arm today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're like, oh, you got something? I was like, oh, that's a tattoo.
To the dermatologist, go, that should come off too.
Probably in her mind.
Right away.
She
Let me
said
see
that.
it. Is it all? I like it. It's not too janky at all.
It still needs to get touched up. I haven't touched it since we did it. Are we getting? I mean, we've seen it before, but we'll close up on it anyways. There
it
she is.
So
Bing, 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 bing.
I had to use Vaseline on something weird the other day.
Go on.
It felt very dirty.
Nice.
Clem bought a Wubba Bubble Ball or whatever the fuck
what?
they're called.
What's a wubble bubble ball?
Is it like a Rick and Morty
Wubble,
thing?
wubble bubble.
Wubble lubba dub dub ball?
What Wubble Bubble Ball?
It's a ball that what?
It's
Wubbles?
like-
It wobbles, but it doesn't bubble.
Wobbles.
They're on infomercials and they're big on YouTube. Like,
Now I want to look
Weird
this up.
videos.
is it like a battery operated ball that goes?
no, it's this ball that's very, very. It's like halfway a ball in a balloon, but it comes deflated, and it tells you to lube up this valve with Vaseline, and then you like insert this air
Hot.
dispenser into it, and it is so invasive. I had to like
Wubble bubble
ease
ball?
it in, like gently stretch it out.
Yeah, well,
pull
welcome to the
it.
club.
Like it was just very, very gross.
One of these?
Yes.
So wubble
And
bubble
so it gets
ball?
huge, huge. Like it wouldn't fit in my car. And so we
Jesus.
had, once we blew it up, we have this thing. It's like seriously 3 feet wide.
Tell us something we're gonna see the slow mo guys video.
Oh no, definitely.
in the next
it's,
month.
it's basically what Dan was in. And it popped the other day. I was so happy.
Oh really?
Yes. She was really sad. We're gonna have
Dude.
to get her another one.
When
but-
my kids were a lot younger, I went as long as I could without explaining to them what batteries were. So it's just like, oh, that toy's just dead.
Oh, she knows.
That's
they don't
brilliant.
they don't make noise forever. Eventually, they stop.
She was playing with this old Boba Fett action figure and was all, it needs batteries. It doesn't do anything. Like, that's just what it is.
I think I
That's
spit
what
on
we
Barb a
had.
little bit there. I think a little spit on you.
That's okay.
I would have never thought to that. That's a great idea to not explain batteries or even how basic things work. To try to
Oh.
preserve your sanity.
The best part is like whenever we go, my kids like carnivals, like those death trap carnivals, and I love them too. And I probably have forced them into this lifestyle. But they always have those like vendors that sell those spinning, whirling light things that you just hold and just make noise.
Oh,
I
yeah.
constantly buy those for my friends' kids and just like for gifts.
Oh,
and just,
you're
like,
such a
I know,
dick.
So evil, so evil. Just be like, oh hey, look at this. This is great. And the kids like whoop 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 whoop, going around the house.
Have you guys ever been to Rome?
No.
I know this is a random
No.
segue, but they sell those things, like those little like shitty touristy toys. But they also had these things I've never seen before. They're like these slime balls where you would throw it down and it would like go flat for a second and then reform itself, but it would make this like wah sound.
What?
Okay.
So everywhere me and Bethany went in Rome, especially like the very touristy areas, I would just constantly hear wah
Oh, that sucks.
wah wah.
Yeah, that kills a very serene
Oh,
place.
absolutely. It was aggravating, super aggravating.
Do you ever bookmark random shit when you're browsing and you just bookmark something? Like bookmarks, ever since I got like the quick links on my browser, I don't actually use my bookmarks menu.
Yeah.
And then every now and then I'll load up bookmarks. I see all this random shit that I basically saved. Like, oh, I'm going to come back and use this. But there was something I found, which was two things actually. It was a website article showing pictures of things the way they actually are versus the way they appear in people's photos.
Okay.
And one was like going to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and then they went like 50 yards away and took a picture, and it's all these dopes, you know,
Oh,
like
right.
Oh, yeah.
it's like tons of tourists trying
Yeah.
to take that exact same fucking photo. And then one was Mount Everest, and it shows the peak of Mount Everest, and then they show what it actually looks like, and it's basically like a line of people, now. There's such an
Waiting to
industry.
get up there.
To
Yeah,
climb it.
yeah, to climb up to the top of it, where it's just like you're just in line basically
Yeah.
to go to the top.
You do that anywhere, like at the Coliseum, and it's all just like touristy stuff and people trying to sell you stuff.
But the thing I had bookmarked was one of these like life hack pro tips, whatever, and it was a way to get photos of touristy stuff, but get them in such a way that they look the way they're supposed to, which is you essentially in Photoshop, you just sit there, you put something on a tripod, you take like 10 to 15 photos of it, and then there's a function in Photoshop where you just combine the common imagery in a batch of photos, and then it basically just takes out all the people, because as they're moving around, that's
They're not
like
common.
that's dynamic information, and they're not common
interesting.
to all the photos. And it was really cool the way they showed it. I mean, it helps if you take a lot more photos, but you can basically blank something out by doing that. Would have been super helpful to have that as a video filter for day 5, but it was a really cool. I thought it was a really cool thing, and I didn't know that existed. I'll try to look up what it's called. Oh, there's a squish ball. Is that it, Barb?
The blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah,
Oh.
that's the thing. It would squish,
Ah,
go
that's
flat
so
like
weird.
that, and then
Does it go like
reform itself. It would
Gus?
look like
Watch,
wet.
do it. Make the noise. What does it do? Next time he throws it down, you do the onomatopoeia.
Wah.
No, Oh, that's not what it sounded like. When I say that, it would go like, "Puh." Like that's the noise it would make.
Probably a
I
noise
think, I
maker
think it had a noisemaker
yeah.
inside.
Like It will just like a moo cow kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
I don't know. If I hear that noise, it'll give me PTSD to being there and seeing all that stuff.
Oh my god! It's like if I made that thing and introduced that to the world, how would you sleep at night? You know, I mean, what are
On
you
a
adding?
bed full of money.
I know, but what are you adding to
full
the
of-
world?
Tourists' money.
Right, well, you earn it $1 bill at a time.
There's also the people that are trying to sell you flowers, but they don't try to sell it to you. They just try to hand it to you
Oh
and
man,
then insist that you owe them money.
it's a polite mugging.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that is. It's a polite way to mug somebody.
They're like handing you stuff, and like someone who doesn't know better is going, "Oh, thank you," and they're like, "All right, $5."
New
Never.
Orleans is the epicenter
I
of
was
that.
gonna say, never ever speak to anyone you don't know in New Orleans. It's just there's no reason to.
Why would
Just
happen?
nobody.
I do that in general because I'm afraid of shit like that. Like if I don't know someone and they try to talk to me, I'm not interested at all.
So Michael got one time because
Got.
someone said, "I can tell you where you got your shoes."
That's the old
yeah.
bit
He
in
was
New
like,
Orleans.
He was like 18.
Yep.
But he's like, "What?" He's like, "I'll bet you $5. I can tell you where you got your shoes." And before Michael could even react, he's like, "You got them on Bourbon Street," like where he was standing at the moment. He's like, "That'll be $5," and like intimidated him until he basically.
There
had to
with a
run
friend of
away.
mine, and he goes, "Ha ha ha! Okay, that's funny." And he goes, "No, that's $5." And then like 2 other dudes showed up, and it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I heard him. You made a bet with him, and you owe him $5. And it's like, okay, give him the $5. Let's go.
Yeah, that's mugging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a polite mugging is
Yeah.
what it is. It's what we see what it amounts to. And I'm sure it's like if push came to shove, there would be no pushing and shoving, but it's like there is definitely the impression of like, oh shit, these guys are if I just give them $5, they'll go away. They'll go away. Kind
That's
of
the
a
smart thing to do, honestly. If you're
just
feeling
don't
intimidated,
Talk to anybody in New Orleans. There's no upside.
I'd be like,
no upside.
Or they
No,
run up
don't
and
speak.
shine your shoes and say they'll be, and they like give you a joke. And they'll be 5 for the line, 5 for the shine. And you're like, I didn't want this
Yeah.
at all.
don't
Yeah.
touch me.
Yeah, but the handing stuff is I forget where it was, but some lady was handing out cards. You know, just like a normal thing on the street. She was handing out cards, but then when she hands you this card, and I took one from her, and it was like asking for a donation, and then she just fucking latched on to me and wouldn't leave me alone. And she never spoke either, which was weird. But she was just like, because I interacted with her, she was like, I'm on the hook at that point for her. And it's just like, fuck off, dude. I'm
I had
not
a
just
really
gonna hand you money.
Annoying situation. You know, like sometimes out in public, there's these people who are trying to talk to you or inform you or get you to sign up for like something like Greenpeace or Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a great cause, and I'm glad people are doing it and getting the word out. But there are often times when I'll pass by people and say like, oh, like I already supported, or like, oh, I'm on my way somewhere. Sorry, like I can't talk right now. Trying to be as polite as possible because I'm usually on my way somewhere. Mm-hmm. There was a time this past weekend where I was on Congress and walking by because I was on my way somewhere, and someone, I forget what organization it was, said like, hey, do you have a moment to talk about blah, 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 blah? And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm on my way there, but I'm already very informed on this subject. Like, I'm sorry, I can't stop. And he goes, oh, I guess you just don't care then. All right,
Yeah.
keep walking. And I was like, dude, like, you're the one who's approaching me in the middle of the street to like bombard me with this when I'm on my way somewhere.
Also, you're showing courtesy, I think,
Yeah.
by just not ignoring the person the way everyone else
I
does.
would
when they
never
wanna get by.
ignore someone who's talking to me about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I always
Working
respond.
at the downtown office taught me to just ignore. You
yeah.
just
Yeah,
keep
just-
walking.
just as like-
don't even listen.
Give me, I have to do that in one place in Austin. You guys probably experience the same thing. The Chipotle
Yep.
right around the corner from here
Oh, yeah.
is just like you got to run a fucking gauntlet every time you
I
go
can't
to that
believe they let
place.
people.
It ruins
do
their
that
business.
there.
It must cut into their business.
Did you see Blaine's tweet about that? It was a couple months ago.
Yeah, we walked
He said,
the
"Here's
long
my
way."
route when there are people stationed there, and it's like literally all the way around the complex to get to the Chipotle."
I don't know what it is about that location, but it's just a combination of people just asking for money, and then basically panhandling, and then people who are just there promoting some kind of cause.
I saw some people. I was driving down Lamar the other day, and I saw some people, like some college students, doing a fundraiser for something. I don't remember what it was. And you see them a lot, where it's like they're holding like poster boards
Sex
and they're like
cult.
passing around, a container asking for money. But on their poster boards, it also said Venmo us at, and had like their Venmo address.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
oh, that's fucking brilliant. Like they had a jar, but they weren't going around like bothering people, like knocking on windows. They were just like Venmo right there.
Yeah.
It had like all the information. I was like, oh, that's great. That's much better. I'm glad that they're not.
Yeah, but you also have no
we trying to talk to
excuse
me?
except I don't
don't
install
have Venmo.
apps on my phone that will harvest my personal
We
data.
had an event at Rooster Teeth recently where we had a bartender who was like friends with someone who worked here, and he had a tip jar, but he also had a Venmo account listed right under where his like name and information was. So if you didn't have cash with you to tip him, you could just
I
give him,
appreciate
like,
that.
$5
Like,
on Venmo.
A lot of the time when there's like an open bar but a tip jar, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, I don't have any money.
Oh, dude.
I know, I always feel bad.
Yeah.
So I almost got recruited into a cult in Austin.
When?
Go on.
Cult might not be the best word, but it was someone who was like, it was somebody who stopped me on the street, and it's weird about this, like people promoting a cause, and then also going back to your thing about wild, wild country. It's really funny because I don't know if you remember this, but there was an organization in Austin called Zendik Farm. Do you remember Zendik
I
Farm?
do remember that. That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago, Zendik Farm. And they had a publication, and they would put it out like once a month or something. And it was kind of like a zine back in the zine days, but it was well after zines went out of style. And they would have this thing, and there was this girl, very alternative girl, and I was younger. And I remember she stopped me to do this thing, and I started talking to her, and she seemed like super into me. And so we started talking, and it was like, then I fucking realized later, it's like, oh, she's trying to like hook me into this cult thing. And I looked it up, and this thing did not. There's a very brief Wikipedia about the founder of Zendik Farm. His name is Wolf Zendik, and Zendik Farm members. In 2006, the community had a show, Zendik News, on public access television.
Oh yeah.
Public access show in 2006. That's amazing. They were really sticking with it. Zendik Farm members were known for their sales of t-shirts and bumper stickers saying "Stop bitching, start a revolution." The community has since disbanded, with the property being sold. It has been accused of being a sex
It
cult.
won
there
a
you go.
Best of Austin award from the Austin Chronicle in 1993.
Yeah.
It was the critics' choice for best hill country cult.
I'd love to see. I'm gonna totally fall down a YouTube rabbit hole of looking up Zendik Farm stuff from like the
Yeah.
90s from public access television. But they seem like utterly harmless. And this is even,
Until they get you.
I think it was like post David Koresh, which became the
Yeah.
like that and the what were the Comet people? The Comet, they all drank the poison and died.
Heaven's Gate?
Heaven's Gate. Those people, like those were like the two in my lifetime, the two big cults. Like I don't remember Jonesboro.
Jonestown.
Jonestown?
Yeah.
Is Jonesboro another place?
I don't know.
As
Okay.
a kid, I thought cults were a made-up thing because of The Simpsons.
Oh, did you really?
I thought like The Simpsons.
Like, this is great
invented-
fodder.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a funny concept.
I sent Barbara a link earlier. This guy had a Simpsons dinner party
Yeah,
where, let me see if I'm finding it, where all he did was make food from the Simpsons.
my favorite was the full bag of Oreos.
Irregular Oreos or 64 slices of cheese.
Did
Yeah.
he fry a paper bag?
He did not fry a paper bag, but he had like a big Rice Krispie treat,
Big Rice
Oh my
Krispie
God.
treat.
64 slices of cheese,
Krusty Burger.
the Krusty the Clown.
So here's what I'm hearing. There is a cult deficit in Austin right now. Zendik Farm is not here.
With
I see an
Scientology.
opportunity.
Rooster Teeth.
Do you think we might be the closest
I
thing to a
mean,
cult
look,
in Austin?
Bernie, we
Can we
got-
get like tax exemption if we're a
Oh
cult?
my God. Yes.
We got books. We got movies.
Yeah.
We got shows.
We just
Let's
need
a
to
fucking
publish
cult.
a bunch of self-help books.
And web content super shitty like public access TV. So
Yeah.
that's what the
It's
current
the new
version
public
of it.
access.
We're a cult. Can we be a cult?
We've been brainwashing people for 15 years.
Oh my God, this is
Think
going to
of
make
the tax
RTX
breaks.
way better.
That's it. I think Tyler nailed the title of this episode. The gang starts a cult. All right, it is time to wrap up though. So we're gonna go start our cult. So I want to thank everyone for watching this week's podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Under his eye.
Namaste.
Blessed be everyone.